What up? Brian here with soshelmag. I'm your host of the podcast. On this episode, we got a brand new one for you. We sit down with Sandra Welsford. She is the Chief Ice Cream Officer of Nicecream, located in Arlington, Virginia, in Clarendon. Nicecream is such a unique story, humble beginnings, and just a true testament of never giving up on yourself. If you got a dream, if you want to do something, just do it. I think you're going to enjoy this one. If you're in the area, definitely stop by. Grab yourself a cup of white chocolate peanut butter. If you like peanut butter, you like white chocolate, that's the thing to get. That's what I had, and I'm going back for more. But anyways, enjoy this one. Enjoy the long Labor Day weekend. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon. But we're good. We're recording. We're ready to go.
Fun. Awesome.
Okay. Well, welcome to an episode of the soshelmag podcast, where we interview really, really cool, dope people that I know in the DMV in DC. And you are, let's see, our sixth guest. So really starting off the podcast with like really close people that I've met, that I bumped into. So welcome.
Thank you.
Why don't you introduce yourself?
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm really, really excited. My name is Sandra Welsford, and I am the Chief Ice Cream Officer here at Nicecream. So I create ice cream for a living. It's pretty great.
Do you eat ice cream every day?
I do eat a serving of ice cream every single day, yes.
I love that. I wonder if does it ever get old?
No, I get asked that question a lot, and my joke is always, when people are like, I love ice cream, I always say, don't love it too much because you'll end up where I am with an ice cream shop eating ice cream every single day. No, I love it. It doesn't get old.
That's amazing. Yeah, thank you for doing this. We are outside. This is a crazy location. Actually, I didn't think we'd be doing it outside, but I think it's really cool. Just you can hear everything. We're like out in the wild of Clarendon in Arlington, Virginia. We got your shop here in the back now scooping. That's pretty cool. So talk to me, I guess, like the humble beginnings. I got a chance to kind of do some research, a couple weeks ago, and it was cool. Your website literally tells your story very well, with videos and all these things. And 2013, I was talking to you earlier, 2013 is a long time. That's 10 years ago. Like, what was going on back then? Like, how did you even start to think about this?
Yeah, when we started, there were not a lot of artisan ice cream shops out there. The food world was interesting in that a lot of people were beginning to talk about being a foodie and beginning to try to experiment with different flavors and get more adventurous with their eating. But I would say it didn't feel the way it does today, where, all of us are always looking for a new food experience, and we're out there kind of searching for the coolest, most unique thing. People are willing to try cuisines they've never had before, ice cream made with liquid nitrogen, all sorts of different things. So when I started making ice cream at home, I really was just doing it for fun. I was really wanting to make ice cream that I could eat because I love ice cream more than anything. And I was getting impatient. So have you ever made ice cream before?
I have, actually, a long time ago. Nothing like how you guys do it. And we haven't shared with them how you guys make it yet, but it was very difficult and time consuming.
Yeah.
And trial and error, and a lot of ingredients actually to mess around with.
It's very much chemistry, where there's so much that goes into how your milk and your cream are going to combine and how they're going to interact with your ingredients that you're putting in. Is it a citrus? Is it a fruit? Is it a chocolate that has a lot more solids in it? So how is that going to freeze? And with everything that goes into ice cream, you put it in an ice cream maker for about 45 minutes, and then you freeze it overnight. So you're putting in all of this effort on the front end, and you can't eat any of the ice cream till the day later, which sounds silly, but I was like, I want my ice cream now. I want my ice cream for dessert tonight. And I was telling my boyfriend at the time, my husband today, I was like, when you're cooking, you get to add salt and take, add this, add that, add these spices, and you can taste it as you go. And with ice cream and a lot of baked goods, you can't do that. You have to wait until it comes out of the oven or wait after it comes out of the freezer. And he was like, I think that you can make ice cream with liquid nitrogen. Have you ever tried that? And of course I was like, yeah, let's try it. Like let's just Google around and try to find, liquid nitrogen. So it was post-college. I was living at home with my parents to save some money. I was working a 9-to-5 marketing job, and I Googled, where do I find liquid nitrogen? And they actually lived near like kind of an industrial complex that had all different types of industrial uses. And there was a store there that sold dry ice and liquid nitrogen. Yeah. So I just walked in the front door. Mm-hmm. And when I say it was a store, it was really like a warehouse. They sold welding materials. They really focused on like hospitals and construction workers and much more industrial uses. And I just walked in probably wearing like a dress and, something summery and casual. And I just said, hi, I want to buy some liquid nitrogen. And the guy was like, why? And I was like, because I want to make ice cream with it. And he was like, okay. Do you know how to do that? And I said, no, I was kind of hoping you would show me. And he was like, oh, this is not the place for you.
Not liable for anything you're going to do.
Exactly. So he kind of like walks me through a little bit of the safety. I like coerce him into like giving me a 101 on like how to use liquid nitrogen. And he's like, okay, sure. So, how much do you want and where do you want it delivered? I was like, oh, no, I don't need it delivered. I just wanted to pick some up, like buy it today and take it home. He's like, home? He's like, you don't have a business? Or I was like, no, I'm just like doing this for fun. He's like, okay, well, the smallest tank I have is 800 pounds. Where are you going to take that? I was like, do you have anything smaller? Retail size? He's like, I don't know. So he goes back into the warehouse and he finds that they're called dewars. It's the tank that you hold liquid nitrogen in. He goes, I have this small dewer. It's about 80 pounds. And, you could take this. I was like, okay, great. That's perfect. It's like 3 feet tall.
80 pounds. That's still kind of heavy.
It's pretty heavy. It's like 80 pounds. It's like 3 feet tall, 2 feet in diameter. It's like this big jug. Yeah. You kind of have to waddle when you carry it. And so he goes, he fills it up and he's like, okay, so you're ready to go. Like, should I bring this out to your truck? I was like, yeah, just meet me out front. So he comes out front and he goes, where's your truck? I was like, so I'm the little Honda Civic right there. It's a 2-door, but I think I can put the seat down. Maybe you could put it in the back. And he was just like, obviously just wanted to get me out of his hair. He was like, here you go. Go on your way.
Wow.
So we started experimenting. We just used all of my recipes that I'd been making in a traditional ice cream maker. And going back to kind of what I said before, the world was a little bit of a different place in that experimental foods and flavors was not as prevalent as it is now. Yeah. So when we were making this ice cream, I was using fresh strawberries and throwing them into cream and turning it in a stand mixer and then freezing it. And it was like eating like homemade freshly churned ice cream immediately.
Wow.
Kind of if people remember, some people that have maybe had ice cream out of an old-fashioned ice cream maker, like it was that authentic. And everything I threw in, I mean, strawberries, blackberries, any chocolate, like freshly made caramel, everything was just so fresh. And then I could get adventurous. I could do like a chocolate chili, and it took me like 30 seconds to freeze it, and I could try it, and then I could add more chili, or I could, add a little bit of this, or take away a little bit of that, try some caramel, add some pecans, and I was just making batches really fast, and it was super fun. And I was kind of hooked as a hobby.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
How long did that 80 pounds last that first time you had it?
I don't know. Weeks? I don't know.
Dang, that's crazy. That's you must have used it up. Like weeks is fast for one person as a hobby.
Yeah, we made a lot of ice cream.
Now, when you first tasted that ice cream, like obviously did you and your boyfriend at the time, husband now, like give it to your friends, your family, like what were their reactions?
Yeah, I mean, it took us a lot of trials to get to something that was ice cream. Like I kind of fast forwarded through the tribulations of the whole thing. Yeah. But once we got a batch that tasted like ice cream, we started just serving it to family and friends. And then friends started to ask, well, that's a really cool process. Like, will you cater my, I think the first thing we did was maybe a bridal shower at someone's house. It was just a friend. And I just like brought everything in my arms, like carried it, like I borrowed my dad's SUV, loaded everything in, and just like carried it into her house and made ice cream. And that's when we started to get people going, oh, why don't you sell this? I was like, sell it. Like, I work a full-time job. I'm not in the business of making ice cream. This is really just for fun. But I just kept getting that feedback, and yeah.
That's incredible. What a crazy cool story.
Yeah.
So when you talk about, how things was a little different back then, like now you have social media, people like going to your place doing stories and like sharing that. How did you guys get out and about like reaching strangers? How did you do that?
We started in farmers markets, and it was really so much of our origin story has a lot to do with just doing whatever it took in some ways, but whoever would take us.
Yeah.
So when you have no brand and no one knows who you are and you haven't ever worked in food, I had never even waited at a restaurant. I was just like, I guess I got to go out there and see who will let me sell ice cream. So farmers market's pretty low barrier to entry.
Thank you.
Ooh.
I'm excited.
We get our ice cream. Yeah, so farmers market's a pretty low barrier to entry. So we just started selling there and just doing a lot of, guerrilla marketing, running out there and being like, we're at the farmers market, chalking the sidewalks, just trying to get people to come.
Chalk on the sidewalks.
I mean, such silly things, plastering flyers, things like that. And then gradually things became a little bit more organic. I mean, so we're in Washington, D.C. We were doing farmers markets in both Arlington, Virginia and Washington, D.C. And it's a pretty tight-knit community. Like once you start getting a little bit of traction, it spreads fast. Yeah,
people support it. So we just got some amazing ice cream here, and I can't let it melt. So Grace was nice enough to send some over our way. So what do we got here?
All right. So we have a peanut butter white chocolate, which is a homemade peanut butter. We make this in-house. And then we melt in white chocolate chips. So it's really good. It's one of my favorites. And then a caramel pretzel. So homemade caramel and then pretzel swirled in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you tried this stuff, Ian?
No.
You want to try some?
Yeah, Mr. Chef.
Here, Ian. This is all yours. I already had my serving for the day.
So Ian here is in the back helping me with some behind the scenes stuff. So I want to get his reaction.
Ian won't be helping once he gets some ice cream. He'll be like, I'm just going to go eat some ice cream.
Make sure I get the right setting.
He slows down. Hey, what are you doing, man? Come on.
He's like in the corner.
Yeah, he's like,
oh
man, this is great.
It's like, I'm in a food coma. I'm on my third flavor.
But I'm going to try this white chocolate. This is what you gave me last time. And this is delicious.
Yeah, we can't get ice cream on your fancy equipment.
It's okay. I got insurance. I was forced to get it.
It's a workplace hazard.
Oh, man. Wow. Yep, that's so good. That is so good.
Okay,
Yeah, right there.
All right, Ian. You got to dig in. So this is caramel pretzel.
Here, come here, though, so we can get your reaction.
Okay, caramel pretzel.
Here.
All right. Here you go, sir.
There's pretzels in the ice cream. I've
Yeah.
never had that before. Let's see.
No pressure.
Oh, yeah. I think better when I'm low down.
This is your second bite now?
Yeah. The first one was, but I just want to double check,
I want to make sure it was good.
It was so good.
Wow. I like it.
Yeah?
I'm just curious, what made you think to put, I've never had pretzels in...
In ice cream?
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice. It's like crunchy. You need, caramel's good, but it's like smooth and a little boring. Like you need something salty.
What kind of flavor ice cream is this?
It's caramel ice cream with pretzels.
Ice cream.
Good to go.
Fire.
You haven't even been in there and seen how they made it. You'll see it later. But it's delicious. You guys got to come check this out. So have you always been at this location when you have?
Yeah, this location came about really serendipitously. I was working farmers markets, hawking ice cream, and wintertime came. And there's very few places to sell outside in the winter around here.
Oh,
We have a real snowy a regular winter.
Cold.
Cold. So I was selling at the holiday market downtown in Chinatown. So the holiday market is where you're selling like scarves and, you know, frames for family members and like warm things like pillows and like sweet, you know, alpaca things, right? And here I am selling ice cream in the holiday market. And I don't have anyone coming to my stand. So I'm just standing there lonely, shivering, pouring liquid nitrogen into a mixer bowl. Like no one is coming up. And I just remember feeling so like kind of at a dead end. I was like, what am I doing? Like I'm just, you know, I need a place to sell this all year round. And as I'm having some of these thoughts, a woman walked up and she said, I'll take the peppermint ice cream. And I served it to her and she ate it and she said, wow, this is actually very good. I, you know, surprised, like there's a girl just standing here selling ice cream in the middle of the winter. I don't know what I'm going to get. And she was like, this is delicious. I'm actually a real estate broker and I have a space in Arlington that used to be a previous frozen dessert shop that closed down. Would you want to take a look at it? And at this time, I mean, a lot of people that have never been through this process think that, you know, if you want to open a store, you just pick a spot and you open it. But in reality, a lot of the ideal, you know, the kind of like the cherry picked spots are saved for some of national tenants, people that have some sort of brand name, that have some sort of traction. So at this point, I had already called all of these spaces that I thought would be good for our ice cream store. And no one called me back. I mean, I was just Sandra, random girl trying to sell some ice cream. I sold at a couple farmers markets. We got some good press, but no one knew who I was. And without anyone tasting the product, when you're just making cold calls around, people they're not excited to get back to you. Yes. So I was really having trouble getting anyone to really return my call and say, sure, we'll take a look at your concept and put you in our, you know, up and coming mall or whatever it was. So when she said that, I was stoked. I was like, this is the first real estate broker that ever even took me serious. So I was like, whatever you're offering, I'm buying. And she took me to this spot, which is here in Clarendon, where we are today. And this is actually, I grew up in the area, and this is where I would sometimes go and hang out when I was in high school and just kind of putz around, hang out with my friends. So I knew it really well. And when I walked in the door, I was just like, ooh, this feels so good. Like, not only was it just a roof over our heads, it just felt like, I don't know, full circle. I was like
a place of belonging. Like,
yeah.
So worth it.
Yeah. It was awesome. So we, you know, that's kind of the beginning of that.
You know, that's crazy, that market, right? I think, like, when you said that, I do remember seeing your ice cream spot.
Do you?
I do, yeah. So on the corner, there was this, like, empanada spot.
That's right.
Were you close to that?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I'm pretty sure I stopped there, so I can't remember if I got ice cream or not.
That's right. Probably not. No one got ice cream from me at that market.
it
the empanada cold. People were just like killing it. There was donuts and empanadas, and then me. And donuts and empanadas is like a line.
On a hot day.
Oh my gosh! And then there I was. I was just like,
I remember that when you said that. I was like, I can't believe that. Like I do remember that. That was like, I don't know. I want to say several years ago.
Yeah.
Like when we were living in DC.
Yeah.
Or before we moved away from DC.
And I used to have my friends help me out, right? Like I didn't have any like a formal employees, but my sister, my friends from college, and they would help me out at the farmers markets. It was fun. It was on the weekends, you know, at the end you got to trade with all the vendors. It's like fun to work a farmers market. But when it came to the holiday market, I was like, who wants to stand outside in the freezing cold and sell ice cream? Everyone was like, you're on your own, girlfriend. So it's just me every single day, 7 days a week.
You're a superhero for ice cream lovers in the winter. That's incredible. I really, really love that. And what I wanted to share, you know, like, yeah, you love ice cream, but I think you're such a stronger, like, business person now, I feel like. And how we met was actually very interesting. This was, like, last year. I think last year. I was at a coffee shop. Shoot, what was it called? What was that place called?
We're at Compass.
Okay, yeah, we're at Compass Coffee. I'm sitting there, and I think it was you and your husband, and then you just had, you know, the baby, and you got the stroller, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, here I'm thinking, oh, she's just gonna enjoy this with the kid. All of a sudden you get your laptop out. I'm like, okay, who is this person? I'm like, what are you doing, you know? And we just, like, kind of hit it off, I thought. And it was at a time where I was just getting into my business and like just started talking to you, and I was like, man, I think I was looking for an apartment, and I just quit my job, and like we were going everywhere, and they're like, oh, you don't have a job, and I was like, dude, really? So I had to show like all this craziness, and you're like, oh, went through the same thing, and I'm like, what do you do? And you're like, oh, I own an ice cream shop.
That's right. Being an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
it's a journey.
Yeah, but you've been like super helpful. Even last time we spoke, I was out here trying to just like talk to you about doing a podcast and trying to get to like win you over to jump on this thing, and then all of a sudden it turned to like business coaching for me, and I was like, wow, this was like the best 30 minutes that I was given. Free business coaching.
You're so silly.
Yeah.
Well, my dad said something to me when I started. So I came home one day and I said to my dad, who I'm very close to my family. So I said, Dad, I think I'm going to quit my job and start this ice cream business. And he looked at me bug-eyed and he said, I helped pay for college, and there is no way that you will be on the street hawking ice cream with that college degree. And I have to preface with, he's really traditional.
Yeah.
I'm, first generation Vietnamese, he would love if I had gotten, the highest level of education and went on to become a doctor or a lawyer. Pretty stereotypical, right? But, so naturally that was his response. And then finally when I said, I really want to do this. Like, I think we have something special here. He said, okay, if you really want to make this part of your life and you want to pursue this dream, then pursue it. But if you're gonna open an ice cream store, I want to make sure that you're not just opening an ice cream store. Anyone can open any old store. I want you to build a business, build an empire that you're proud of. And I don't know that he knew exactly what that would look like, but when he said that, it really stuck with me in the sense that I wanted to build something that people would be proud to work at. I wanted to kind of build something that felt more like I was going to leave a legacy for food, I wanted to build something sustainable.
Yeah.
And what the reason I say that in response to your like the business stuff is there's so much you can do in a retail business that you can just kind of like hustle on your own. And I think it's important to think about, how does this operate when I'm not the person standing here? It has to be able to stand on its own. You have to give your employees the tools to be able to do it on their own and do it really, really well. Every single ice cream that comes out the door needs to be the same as if I made it. And not just if I made it, but if I made it back in my heyday, like when I was learning to make it and perfecting the recipe, it needs to be close to that kind of passion and that kind of perfect. And that's hard to do, especially in a retail setting. And the only way that you can do it is to really put a lot of processes and a lot of just thought into the business part of it. And
was that hard for you at first to do, like letting go of something that is like so unique to you? Like, I know every time you make an ice cream, probably all these thoughts come in your head, like, dude, I did this. Like, I remember was it hard for you to kind of give that off at first?
It was. I mean, it was and it wasn't. I used to show up at the store at 6 a.m. I would prep all the ingredients, and then I would open the store we used to open at like 10 a.m., start serving ice cream. We closed at 11, so I was operating, behind the counter 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., and then I would shut down the store and be done by like something like 12:30 or 1 in the morning. So it was exhausting. I don't know how many hours that is, but in some ways, yes, it's hard to let go and let someone else take some of those shifts and let someone else make a batch of ice cream without you there. But in some ways it was easy, and then I was exhausted.
Yeah.
So you're physically beat down for so many months, years doing that you're like, okay, I really got to take on some help and really train and take what's in my brain and give it to someone else.
Do you have like a group of people that you like mentors, or do you mentor other people with what you've learned in the last decade, like even before that, opening up a business?
I have a lot of mentors. I mean, so much of where we're at is thanks to people that have helped me along the way. So many people. And I don't have a formal group that I mentor with or find mentors through, but like I said, the community around here is relatively small. So whenever I meet someone that I click with, kind of like you, I love staying in touch and just seeing what can we do to help each other and stuff like that.
Dude, I love it. And I've never seen ice cream made like this. I will be honest to all those ice cream people. I don't know what that other thing is called where they just like shove it on a table of like frozen. What is that?
like a shaved ice cream?
Yeah.
Okay,
So I thought that was cool, but I'm not a fan of shaved ice cream.
Well, the quality is just not quite there.
No,
it's fun to watch.
It is. I enjoy watching it, but like when I finally get it, I'm like, man, this kind of tastes like water. I don't know. Sorry, guys.
Kind of tastes like ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, seeing this and watching it is like a science class back in the day when they're playing with like dry ice.
Yeah.
And you're just like, this is so cool, and like it just never gets old. You know, that smoke coming out, and you're just like, I don't know. You have the KitchenAid all set up, and you're like, this is amazing. It's not an ice cream style. It's like more than that. I feel like, you know, it's like, well, hey, you said artisanal. It's like an art, really. Shoot.
Thanks.
It's so tough to like just do. I feel like. So when you talk about scientists, like who are like your scientists in the family? Where did you find a scientist? Like, what is?
I don't have any scientists in the family.
Okay.
A couple of doctors that probably don't deal with liquid nitrogen, but my husband actually has a family business. His grandfather started it, and they sell industrial valves. So it's an instrumentation company that sells the kinds of things that go into like factories that kind of turn things on and off. Terrible description, but they deal with liquid nitrogen sometimes, and that's how he was exposed to the idea. They sell valves that I guess deal with very cold products.
And how you guys have that set up in there where it's like hidden, because all you see is like that orange cable and then the KitchenAid, right?
No, we hand pour. So the orange cable is just the electrical
to the
cable.
KitchenAid?
Mm-hmm. Oh. We hand pour all of our ice cream, which is unique.
Yeah.
So we call all of our ice cream makers crafters, because it really is like a craft.
Yeah.
There are some, when we first started, there was no one that I could find out there making ice cream with liquid nitrogen. Now, 10 years later, there's been a couple different brands that have popped up here and there. Most of them focus on the showmanship and how the smoke comes out.
Sure.
And, they offer hundreds of flavors that you can like just inject like a color or a flavor into your milk. And oftentimes the liquid nitrogen is piped in through a system and then dispensed into the KitchenAid mixer via like a dosing mechanism where it's like preset. And what I have found is that experience sometimes doesn't make the best textured ice cream, because every set of ingredients is totally different. So I had mentioned this before, but like a fruit puree is a lot of liquid. So when you add that much liquid, you do need to kind of change the way that you freeze it, versus chocolate has a lot of solids. It's a lot of cocoa solids. So it's a harder ice cream. It's going to freeze pretty differently. And so when we are crafting ice cream, we're paying attention to some of those things. It's more of an art and a feel than it is a science.
I was just trying to imagine, how do you know when to stop pouring?
A lot of practice.
Yeah.
A lot of practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So I guess back to like kind of your personal life, and I think it's cool how this doesn't really embody, like it was an important part of your life. Now you have like family, now you have other things that you want to place, and I feel like you have this like vision of like enjoying life and like really experiencing more than just the shop now. Like, so how do you go about like having unique experiences outside of just the ice cream shop?
I think that it's really important, especially when you have a retail business, to keep the inspiration high. So it's really easy to get burnt out in the food and restaurant world, just because it's a lot of time. And I think when that happens, you can really lose a lot of inspiration. So I really try to keep my life outside that's, not directly related to ice cream. I try to get out there. I try to stay inspired. And I also think it's important when you start a business to figure out what is that business going to do for you? You know, what's important? What are some of your goals outside of just being and existing? You know, is it, for some people it's strictly financial, and that's, you know, that's important to know. For some people it's creating community space and creating place for, whether it be maybe your employees or customers. And for some people it's just creating a space for inspiration. It's a place where, an outlet where they want to kind of share their talents with others, whether that's a cooking talent, food talent, or, you know, some other sort of art. So yeah, I just think it's important to do that. And I think for me, Nicecream is a community space where we are just, we're in the heart of Arlington, like, or right here. People build their entire childhood off of the memory of having our ice cream. Like, we've been here 10 years, so there are kids who, I've had moms tell me, my kid is only exclusively grown up on your ice cream, which is pretty cool. Like, someone once told me, she said, you know, my kid thinks that this is how all ice cream is made, because this is all I serve him, which is pretty cute. Yeah, so I think that's really, really cool. And then in terms of your question about, like, finding things outside of work that give me life. I mean, we have a family, we have kids, and we want to spend more time traveling and showing them the world. And so Nicecream in some ways gives us the ability to do that, because we've built it as a business. We employ an amazing team that knows how to run everything nuts and bolts. And yeah, it's been really great.
I also noticed online you guys do virtual ice cream classes. How did that come about? That was so cool.
That's a pandemic. Yeah, that's a pandemic thing. So during the pandemic, it was hard to get anyone come into the store. So I thought, well, we got to get ice cream to people if they're not going to come inside. So let's figure out shipping ice cream. And then when we figured out how to ship it, we started shipping nationally. So we ship all the way to Hawaii. And then I thought about, what is the customer missing? They come into our store for the experience. It may not be, it could be the liquid nitrogen experience. It could be just the experience of a nostalgic ice cream. Like, you know, you come to celebrate, you sit down, you make this memory. It could be the experience of learning about our ingredients, understanding that our milk is locally sourced, it's all grass-fed, that our ingredients are all made in-house, we work with local farmers. There's so much to our experience, right? When we ship the ice cream, you don't get any of that. So that's when I came up with the idea of a tasting box, where you could taste 6 different ice creams, and you could hop on a Zoom, and I would describe to you what you were tasting and tell you exactly where everything that you're tasting comes from. How did we make it? What farm did it come from? And tell a little bit about our story.
That is so cool. So
that's what we do. And we, most of our clients are corporate clients. So they're like companies like Spotify, Microsoft, Google, and they will ship our ice cream to their employees, and then they do like an employee bonding event.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
So like they would have the employees at their houses.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah, so we bring the ice cream experience into their homes.
Wow, that is so cool.
And post-pandemic, so many people still work at home, and it's just become almost like it. Sometimes I think, and we've done this too, businesses try different things. When there's a huge shift in the world, something like a pandemic, you try different things to survive, right? And we did that. We tried so many things that didn't match our brand. You just try whatever it takes to sell something, right? And for whatever reason, some things stick and some things don't. And this one, the tastings, it felt so true to us, like to describe our ingredients, to come to people in their space, the way that we make a comfortable community space here. It felt really natural, and so it just kind of stuck.
Do you guys ask like the community for like, hey, like flavors and stuff? Like, how does the new flavors come about? Sometimes.
So I probably invented, I would call it, our first 30 or 40 flavors, and then from there it's all been employee generated or customer suggestions that we try. So if people have ideas for a flavor, I encourage them to go out, buy the ingredients for it on Nicecream, and then if they come in early during a shift or have some extra time, they can just start experimenting. The process is fast, right? You have liquid nitrogen, so you can make a batch of ice cream in 5 minutes. So we actually have a little tasting coming up with one of our managers, and he was like, I got a lot of flavor ideas. So he has like a tasting arranged for me and my operations director. We're just going to sit around the table and eat a bunch of ice cream.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
it's
We need to
really
do
fun.
that when you get back from your trip. That would be so fun. I got
Yeah.
some ideas now, like clementine. And, oh man. Like I love a good orange ice cream.
Ooh, that sounds so good.
Yeah, like a unique orange. Or like durian.
Oh, I'm Vietnamese, so.
Yeah, durian's amazing.
My mom makes her own durian ice cream with our ice cream, but I don't sell it.
That could be a hit. I don't know. That
Yeah,
could be a hit. Do
probably.
you guys also sell in pints too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that recent or is that through the pandemic?
No, we've sold in pints a long time. My husband really pushed for it. I always pushed the experience. I was like, no, people come in because they want to watch the ice cream
Yeah.
get made, and he was like, no, people just love the ice cream. And so I think 2 or 3 years into us opening, we introduced pints, and they just fly off the shelves, and
So
we
good.
can't make enough of them. So it's also been a nice reminder, like, wow, it's really, the ice cream is delicious. People like it, which if you're a founder, you have a lot of imposter syndrome. Even after, hundreds of thousands of ice creams that we sold, sometimes I'm still like, do people like it? Or are they just like here to be nice? Like, it feels weird to say, but I still feel that. But when people buy our pints, I'm like, no, they like really like it.
Are you having future plans about anything? Like, what is it in secrecy? Can you say anything? Like, what's the future for an ice cream?
I don't know. I am very much a believer that you manifest anything and everything. So I don't want to say that we have any like solid plans. So we don't know. I'm not
We'll
sure.
see. It's a secret. I love that. Well, I'm gonna wrap this up. I know you're busy. This has been a blast. This ice cream is delicious. I'm like looking at it, it's melting. I'm like, I just want to drink that.
You can.
Yes, and I will, I think. But last time I was here, you gave me this exact same one, and I had to get running to a meeting. But I walked out, I took a quick bite, and I had all my stuff with me. I was like, whoa. I went down to the side there's chairs over there, and literally just smashed that whole thing. I was like, wow, this is amazing. But this is great. So can you let people know, like, the location of Nicecream, where you guys at, social media?
Sure, yeah. We are in Arlington, Virginia, in the heart of Clarendon. And you can find us online at Nicecream DC.
There you go. Sandra, this was so fun. Thank you so much. Thank you for the ice cream. I can't wait to come back down the road and do this again. This
Thank
is
you for
awesome.
having me.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Wraps it up. Thanks, guys.